To teach or not to teach? That is, thank you. That is the question. Which is kind of ironic because, as a theater English double major, to open up with such a cliche remark, teach or not to teach. By the way, those transitions are one of my teaching tools. If they're not going to be interested in me, at least they'll be interested in the little swirly things. Unfortunately, you on the tape can't view that. Right now I've got Mr. Shakespeare, or Hamlet, or whoever you want to put in there. So I have a lot of fears, but I guess you should get to know me first. First, my name is Raymond Austin Gore. As many you might have heard my classmates call me Austin. That's the name I prefer to go by. The legal system and the banks call me Raymond. That's how I know which emails to open up, Raymond, Austin. If you email me Austin, I'm more likely to answer. And then the students at Spring Ridge call me Mr. Gore. And with each name, each identity, I have a different set of fears. With Raymond, for example, I hate being the adult. Like I had to go to the tire shop today, and I had to swipe my credit card, and it was a lot more than I was expecting to spend. As Austin, I really hate standing up in public speaking, which all of you I know are sitting there saying, Austin, you're a theater major. Oh my God, it's so different. In my personal life, you actually hear my voice. You don't have to listen to some character that someone has written for me. Instead, here I am speaking to you using my own voice. I'm shivering if you can't tell. And then lastly, as Mr. Gore, the teacher, the educator, God, I am so scared to become an educator. And I think if you heard all of the other presentations, you would have that negative experience of, oh my God, what am I getting myself into? So I guess the standard fear, the one that I thought was most scary when I came into this class was this whole standardized testing thing, the PARCC test. It was MSA when I was in school, the HSAs, the AP exams, the IP exams. Oh my God, I can't even list off how many exams there are. It would take 10 minutes just to do that. So that's what I thought was my biggest fear coming into the class. What else I was a little concerned about, along with testing, is students just don't want to take tests. So my big problem here as an educator is how do I teach the material for the test without teaching to the test? And to be honest with you, before I entered this classroom, I considered it, oh my gosh, if the department is watching this, they're going to kill me. I thought about dropping the MAT. I was so scared of teaching to a test. I didn't want to do it. Luckily now I'm a little more convinced with that, but I'm looking at a couple other fears. Now, I have a whole new set of fears now that I've gotten into this class, and a lot of it comes from the multicultural classroom. I am a white, straight male. I'm happy to admit it. I'm very proud of who I am and who I identify as, but so are 82% of teachers, it seems like. 82% of teachers are white. I'm kind of just giving into that system. And one of the other problems here is, as Rapp this quote, how can these young people, meaning us, young teachers, expect to close the achievement gap and establish equality across the land when they agree to remain teachers for only 2 years? Now, the program she's specifically talking about is one that we talk about in class, Teach for America, which everyone views as this awesome program to get great new teachers into the classroom. What people don't realize when they sign up for Teach for America, you get 5 weeks of teacher education. Now, I'd like to point out that everyone in the class I'm in right now has received 3 weeks of teacher education. How many of us are ready to go into the classroom right now? Okay, Reggie, put your hand down. No. Reggie, I love you, but no, you are not ready to go into the classroom. You're questionable. So anyway, so this whole notion that after 5 weeks of education, I can go into the classroom, I can be a teacher. Also, one of the problems is you get a 2 week, wow, that'd be even worse, a 2-year commitment to becoming a teacher in an inner city. Now, studies have shown that students feel when the white savior comes into the classroom for 2 years and says, I will change the world, I will change you, and then I'm going to leave you after 2 years. I'm abandoning your community, your life. I have no investment inside your education. And as Michi says, teachers need to learn, do, and commit themselves to students in order to be effective with students whom are racially and culturally different from themselves. So one of my biggest fears right now is how am I going to connect to students that aren't white, straight males? And one of the things that we've learned about in this particular class is to ask questions, get to know the students. One of the things I did at the beginning of the presentation was introduce myself as Raymond Austin Gore. You know something about me. You now have some sort of with me. You have some sort of face with me. And that's one of the things we as teachers need to do, sort of identifying quality with our students. Because we all have some sort of connection. At least we're all human beings. We may look different. We may smell different. We may just be different people, but we are people. Some of us might be a little more experienced than others, Muffin, not to call you out. So let me point out, this is me in second grade. I'm so glad the people on the video can't see this. I would have so much blackmail. Me in second grade with my second grade teacher, Miss Cooper, who is now Mrs. Miller. She has a 2-year-old son now. I know because I'm friends with her on Facebook. She was really my inspiration to become a teacher, and I'll tell you exactly why. I remember in second grade, we had this reward system, one of those standard, like you get 5 little ribbon things, and you get a reward. And one of the rewards was sit wherever you want in the class. And for the first, everyone sat at the couch in the class, which was, a cool thing, but I wanted to be different. I liked being different. I liked being the nerd. I said, I want to sit at your desk, Miss Cooper. I want to sit at your desk for the entire class. Reluctantly, she agreed. And I sat there, wow, this could be me. I could be in charge of all these people. All of these students would love me. And it would be great. It would be perfect. The idea of that has changed. I don't want to be an elementary school teacher anymore. I want to go into secondary, but also I didn't realize all the struggles she had to go through as a first-year teacher. Like once she forgot when our recess was and switched it with lunchtime, and she covered it up well, but teachers make mistakes. This is my high school drama teacher, and the reason I point her out is she did a lot of outside of her contracted time. And this picture here, we're at the University of Nebraska International Thespian Competition. And she didn't get extra money for this, but she spent 2 weeks with a bunch of high school students in the middle of Nebraska, which is just, cornfields, University of Nebraska, cornfields. Didn't get extra money, but wanted to show her students what they could do with a life of theater, which obviously had a big impact on me as a theater major. And future teacher, like her. And as Latson Billings said, teachers saw themselves as part of the community, and teaching as a way to give back to their community. They should encourage their students to do the same. I fully agree with that. It's a training ground. Schools are a training ground for social order or social change. So using your school as a community will train students to treat their community like their school community, which unfortunately some schools are failing at right now. The last teacher I particularly want to point out is Miss Cordero. This is me with high school graduation. She taught me how to write. Let me tell you what, could not stand this woman when I first had her as a teacher. She taught AP Lang. She will be viewing this video at some point. I told her about it. I remember the first assignment we had was compound complex sentences, and she made us write these compound complex sentences with the words of the day. And I got a 0 out of 20. And I went to her after class and I said, could you please explain why I got the 0 out of 20? She explained it to me. I said, okay, can I redo it? And she said, nope. It's like, all right. So I had a 0 in the grade book, but I guarantee you, every time we had that assignment, I went to her after school. She made me come back to her. And the reason I say that is she really did inspire me. I'm an English major because while we were learning to take an AP test, she didn't teach the test. What she taught us was that we had a voice through our writing, and that's something I want to give students, is that even though you're writing to a test examiner, you still have a voice in that test. And finally, I'd like to point out my principal, Miss Evelyn Arnold, my high school principal, because even if you're in the administration, you can still have an effect on students' lives. And the reason I particularly like to point her out is because on graduation day, she handed me the diploma, she gave me this big hug, and she said, wow, I can't believe you did it. Which of course she meant sarcastically and in the most loving way possible. But she also said, you're going to do great things. When you want to do greater things, come back and teach more students to be like you. And that has really stuck with me. Oh my gosh, I didn't think I'd be tearing up. But honestly, I don't even know if she remembers that, but it really had a big impact on me. So despite the craziness that we teachers face, we are inspired by the commitment everybody in the school makes, especially the kids. The hope and possibility you see in the kids keeps you coming back every day. And I hope that's a reason some of my teachers came back, and I hope that's the reason that I'll come back and be a teacher. So I guess in closing, for me, there's that reference page she told us not to put in there. But I decided sometimes you're supposed to not do what the teacher says and have your own voice, so sorry, Leslie. I know, I'm sorry. So in closure, I would like to say, Shakespeare said, all the world's a stage, the men and women are merely players. As a classroom, the men and women are merely students. Let's be lifelong learners. Thank you so much.